for all this, and then on the other side, I kind of want to know the how, the how much, the where. So I'm going to flip through a couple of slides just to show some of the concepts with you, befores and afters and that kind of thing, just to illustrate the application of the concept. So this is Boulder. Cindy mentioned it. It's a college town, high pedestrian and bike demand. And I think has driven their infrastructure investment a little bit. They've really accommodated bikes, walkers, a lot of innovative concepts in that city. We have college towns here too in Hampshire. We have Durham and Keene, and I think both of those towns are actually kind of following in the same footsteps. So where the demand is, I think is where you're going to see the investment. Next slide. This is a great shot of a city that used to be an urban thoroughfare, and they've totally reworked it to be more human scale. You notice the plantings, the ornamental lights, but the narrow roadway, the transit use, which is great, and the sidewalks being separated from the roadway. I love it there. Next slide. This is a more common urban environment. Long crossings for crosswalks. I don't see any bike lanes. If you look in the distance, I'm not sure I see sidewalks on both sides. So this is more what we're used to in the urban environment anyway. Next slide. I love this slide. At first I looked at it and I said, all right, sure, they ran out of money, really project there. So they ended the sidewalk. And you see on the right, down at the bottom, there's a stairway actually, there's not a bed ramp. So there's a lot going on there. And then you read the sign that says caution deaf and blind children. So I just have this image of a blind child walking with a deaf child, and they get to the end here, and the blind child says, did the sidewalk just end? And the deaf child says, did you just say something? It's really crazy. Next slide. This is a classic before. People were using this, riding or walking outside of the roadway, and it kind of told the story. Where is the tap? Where is the demand? Well, it's obvious. They wore a path in the ground. So the next slide. So the city accommodated them, and did a little bit of investment to make it more inviting and safer. Got them off of that busy roadway. Next slide. This is Boulder again. Sorry to keep going to Boulder, but this is a project that did a global rehab of this corridor. This is the before slide, and then this is the after. You notice they added a planting strip on the left side to separate the sidewalks from the road. They added defined bike lanes. That's the primary difference on this one. So before and after, it's pretty dramatic. So I think this says something about how when you do these projects, you maybe don't have the ability to go out and do a complete street project, but if you're doing a regular roadway rehab or a corridor improvement project, you start looking at the complete street component of it.
Right.
Yes? You're right. I don't know the history there. I don't know. There's a cut through. So if you go, there's a cut through there. There's two different roadways here. So I don't know if that was a high volume turn coming out of there. Bill, you're so technical. Yeah, so you did right. All right, next slide. This is apparently southern New Hampshire. It's palm trees. It's actually in California. This is what I picture when I think of California. They have the rooms that they used it. They built wide roadways, and now they are retrofitting. The same corridor. What they've done here is some access management. They've got a median down the middle, and then they've defined their bike lanes. They've defined their parking and their bus pull-outs, and they've brought the road scale down. This is a classic road diet exercise where they've taken the right of way and reapportioned it. You also notice there's a roundabout in the picture there. I think that helps justify the median so that people can turn around easily and get to the business on the other side. Next one. This is another one in Pennsylvania, near where I went to school. This is another typical urban thoroughfare. They've got turn lanes in the middle, they've got parking on both sides, 4 lanes of traffic. Next slide. Totally redone. This is a classic road diet as well. It's the bike lane. They eliminated a through lane are actually truly in both directions. And something I love, they have back-in diagonal parking. I'm really waiting for somebody in New Hampshire to do this. And I know they've been talking about it in Concord and Main Street. And I've seen it elsewhere. Seattle has it extensively. The benefit of the complete streets benefit of that is definitely safer for the bicyclists to have cars pulling out in this direction instead of backing out. You just picture downtown Concord, how hazardous that is to bike through downtown. You see tail lights and you shudder. So, next slide. This is New York City. New York is really becoming bike friendly. It's amazing to me. This is the before picture. I counted 6 jaywalkers just in this picture. You can see there's huge demand for pedestrians. And there are some big crosswalks, but there are also some big paved expanses and not a lot of definition. So now you go to the next one. Totally redone. A lot of it is just striping, but there are also some raised medians. There's some bump out from the curb line, defining the pedestrian space a little bit better. There's still bus service, there's still a transit station, there's a lot of pedestrian activity, but this is amazing. And I know Boston is starting to do a lot too with bikes. Any growing movement? Cindy, back to you.
So the Complete Streets movement has been growing. It's been in existence since about 2005 formally, but other communities have taken it on before that. So this is just a demonstration of how it's taking hold. So this is kind of wrapping up just the resources from here that you have available to you if you want to learn more about this concept. The Complete Streets website is very comprehensive and has very active updates about what's going on around the country, both at the local level, the regional planning level, and at the state level. So this organization is very much a champion of the progress that's being made toward this end. And then the policy development guidance, that's really the meat of what you try to do is if we decide, or the department decides to pursue this in any way, there are lots of options, policies internally, state legislation, etc. So there's lots of guidance, and people out there have done it before, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel depending on which approach you'd like to take. Here's the group of people that, and organizations that serve the steering committee. So it's a combination of municipalities, nonprofits, businesses, and advocates. So it's kind of got the whole gamut of people that are involved that are moving this effort forward. And the partners, I was interested to learn when I started getting informed about Complete Streets that it was an idea that was designed to take the place of the terminology accommodation, reasonable accommodation, that's ADA, but there was an older term that was being used in the design, so Complete Streets is kind of a reiteration of that. But there's a lot of funding that's come from the private sector to move this forward, which is really positive. So in addition to little vignettes like this that Greg and Lori and I have shared with you, there are opportunities for full-day workshops. And so there are teams of people around the country that consist of a planner and an engineer that will travel to your community, and there is a charge for that, but there are full-day workshops available to go into further depth, and then also implementation workshops as well, as I mentioned. And here's the website, completestreets.org, but it is also on these handouts. So what I'd like to do is just ask you to pass these around. There are 2 handouts. One's on Complete Streets, they're both front and back, and the other is on the economic benefits of improving bicycle and pedestrian transportation. So very quickly, this is the Safe Routes to Play initiative that the nonprofit that I work with is working on, and it's really just asking the question, what if all children had the opportunity to be able to get where they need to get when they want to play? That's their job, is to play and learn. So Safe Routes to School makes it easier for them to get to their schools, and we want to promote the idea that it should be easy for them to get to their places to play without a car. And that's it. But I will answer any questions, and thank you so much for your attention. Really, really appreciate being able to be here.
Any questions? Anybody have any comments? Or John Corrigan's here. John yesterday was